Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video for where you can find all of my online shenanigans, including how to get my patterns to knit for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, where to find my merchandise, and how to support me on Patreon, and all of the links to the things that I will be talking about in today's video, which is, it's a very timely kind of thing. This is one of those videos that isn't going to age particularly well because it is time sensitive. And they are the classes that I am getting ready to teach that y'all can sign up for. Now, I have both virtual and now I am so excited, actual in-person classes that I will be teaching in the near future that you might want to sign up for if that's something that you've been wanting to do. So, I don't even know what order to do these in. Let's start with the virtual classes. So the virtual classes I will be teaching through I have it all up here, so on my second monitor, so that I can make sure to get all this information correct. So when you see me looking over here, that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to be teaching through String Theory Yarn Company, which they are in Chicago. They are on Central Time, so all of the times that I will be giving you are Central Time, and they're scheduled later in the day for them, so this might be better for some of y'all that are not quite East Coast like I am. And so what I'll be teaching is my blocking class, with some of y'all will have heard me talk about, and a casting on binding off class. The blocking class, which is called Essentials of Blocking with Barbara Benson, is on December 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and this will be on Zoom. It is a 3-hour class. Let me 3-hour class, and I teach it on Zoom, so you can be anywhere and attend this one. Now, I'm going to talk about this because I'm also teaching this blocking class live at a later date. So for those of y'all who might be able to make it the live one, this applies to both classes. Now, this class is about blocking, but it is more viewing your project through the lens of blocking, starting with planning and picking your yarn out for your project and making sure that you have the right marriage of yarn to project so that you can have a successful project, so that the pattern and the yarn both work together to give you something great through the lens of blocking. So what we do is we talk about, yes, the tools and how you block, but also, and specifically we're talking about wet blocking, but also the different kinds of fibers and how they react to blocking, different types of fabrics and how they react to blocking, and different types of projects and how they interact with blocking. So it really is an extensive class, and I'm going to read you this review on the String Theory website, which I will link to. And the review says, I enjoyed this class so much I took it twice and I learned something both times. So that's kind of hilarious. And the thing is every time I teach this class, it is a little bit different because of interaction with students, and the questions they ask might lead me in a direction that I don't go to in every class. So that is the Essentials of Blocking with Barbara Benson, and that is on December 9th. From 1 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And hang on, let me make this, what day? I think that is, so, December 19th. That is a Sunday, okay? So especially if you have a last minute holiday gift you need to block, this would be the class for you. Now in January, on January 9th, which I believe will also be a Sunday, let me double check that before I tell you. Yes, so on January 9th, I'll be teaching casting on and binding off. Now, this is on the 9th from 1 to 3, so this is only a 2-hour class, and what it is we'll go through 3 or 4 different methods of casting on and 3 or 4 different methods of binding off. This is definitely a good class if you're fairly early in your knitting career, because we're going to go over some basic ones and then some more advanced ones, but it's also good if you just want to add a couple new techniques to your repertoire. Let us read this. Learn some new ways of starting and ending your work, and if we cover one you already know, polish your technique. We will discuss the properties of each technique and when it might be the preferred method to incorporate into your work. Let's learn some cast on bind offs and talk about different applications for different techniques. So that is the description of this class, and I will go, it's not just that you're going to learn these bind offs and cast ons, you're going to learn about bind-ons and cast-off and what kind of elements go to make them up and what to look for in matching cast-on and bind-offs with your project type. So again, that's Sunday, January 9th. 2022, if you can believe it, from 1 to 3 Central Standard Time. Both of these are virtual via Zoom through the Strings Theory Yarn Company. There will be links in the description notes below to these classes and where you can sign up for them. Now, the in-person, this is like live, like we'll be like face to face, and it's kind of amazing because it's been a while since I've done this because obvious reasons, COVID. And I was actually invited to be the guest instructor for the South Carolina Knitting Guild in Greenville, South Carolina. And they have an event every year called the Knit In, Knitinn. Because knitters love puns. And this is the Knit In 2022. And I am going to be their guest instructor that they're bringing in. And I will be teaching 5 classes at this event. It is one of the kinds of events that you could actually make into like a whole weekend. It is in a hotel. There is a hotel block. It's like a little conference kind of situation, but on a smaller scale. It says the hotel reservations are now available, and I'm going to link to this website, and you need to make your reservations prior to December 29th. And there is a group code to get a discount on the hotel, everything. It's in the Hilton Greenville in Greenville, South Carolina. So if you are in this kind of East Coast area and this sounds like something interesting to you, it could be a lot of fun just to make it to an event like this, but also an opportunity to take one of my classes in person if that is something that you have been looking for. Now, I got to get out my bifocals here. The dates of this are Thursday, February 3rd through Sunday, February 6th, 2022. That number is going to take forever to get used to. I will be coming in on Thursday, and on Thursday night, there will be a meet and greet where I'm going to bring samples and we're just going to talk. And I think I'm going to give a little talk. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen there. We're going to meet, we're going to greet, we're going to, rub elbows or maybe, cross needles. I don't know, but it's going to be fun. And then there are essentially 2.5 days worth of classes. Now, I am teaching 2 classes on Friday, 2 classes on Saturday, and 1 class on Sunday. So there's a morning class session and an afternoon class session on Friday and Saturday, and then just a morning session on Sunday. And I am not the only instructor in each class block. So if one of the classes I am teaching is not something that you particularly want to learn, you can look at the other classes and see what's being offered, and maybe one of those is something that you want. My first class I will be teaching, which will be from 9 to 12 on that Friday, is called, and I love the name of this class, Elongated, Lifted, and Cinched. And what that class is playing with really unusual knitting techniques, stitch techniques out of Japanese stitch dictionaries. The Japanese stitch dictionaries have all these really fascinating manipulations of stitches that yield beautiful, beautiful results, but they're not necessarily instinctual. They definitely are fancy stitches. And in this class, what we'll knit is a swatch and work our way through multiple different techniques that you find frequently in these Japanese stitch dictionaries, and it'll give you the toolkit to attack these stitch dictionaries or Japanese knitting patterns with greater confidence. So that is, and I just made up the words. It's been interesting to see how I have to modify this class, because when I wrote this class, these books were only available in Japanese, and just within the last few years, they've been translated into English. So some of the names for the techniques I made up, like I called something an elongated stitch, is not like the actual name. It's like a dip stitch. So the words aren't necessarily exactly the same, but the techniques are, and the chart symbols are. So that is elongated, lifted, and cinched. And then in the afternoon, I will be teaching the magical art of blocking your hand knits, which is the name I gave this particular class. And it's the same class that I referred to on previously that I'm teaching virtually, but the really fun part of doing it in person is there's hands-on elements that I actually will, I'm going to show you how to use pins and blocking wires, but when it's in person, I can actually put them in your hands and you can look at them. And I have swatches that you can look at, but in person, you can look at them in person. And also it makes it easier to do the steam heat acrylic demo in person. So there are different dynamics involved in the Zoom class versus the in-person class. Both have their positives. But if you want to take this blocking class in person, this would be an opportunity. And it is one of my favorite classes. Honestly, it is the class I have taught the most, possibly because there aren't really that many people out there teaching it. So that is the magical art of blocking your hand knits from 2 to 5 on Friday. And then on Saturday in the morning, I am teaching basic mosaic color work, like from the beginning. I checked on that. That class is already sold out, if that tells you anything. If you are interested in any of these classes and you want to attend this event, you need to jump on it because that class is already sold out. So I'm not going to really talk about it much because it's sold out. There is a wait list you can get on. And then in the afternoon, I am teaching Mosaic and Lace Technique Toolbox. Now, this is a class that I've been teaching since I released my Mosaic and Lace book. And if you're signed up for the basic Mosaic class and you sign up also for the Mosaic and Lace class, there will be overlap, because in the Mosaic and Lace, we do like a boot camp, a very condensed, these are the basics of mosaic. And then we jump directly into how lace and mosaic interact. So if you haven't done mosaic before, you can still take the Mosaic and Lace Toolbox class. It's just a little bit more intense, if you will. The regular mosaic class, it's a very laid back affair and learning the technique because the technique is easy, and we'll explore it a bit more. The Mosaic and Lace class, we really just hone in on the basics of mosaic as a building layer for adding on the lace. And again, it's a swatching class where we'll have a little narrow swatch and we'll move through mosaic and the different lace techniques so you can better understand what mosaic lace is all about. This is actually a mosaic lace piece from my book. I'll put up a picture here of another mosaic lace piece. They are super fun, and it is a way of doing color work and lace at the same time. The lace lightens up the mosaic because mosaic can be a very dense fabric, and the mosaic brings color and interest to the lace. Now, you are just knitting stripes and slipping stitches. That is what Mosaic is. There is no yarn carried along. I can flip this over and you can definitely see the stripes, but there are no floats. You're only knitting with one strand of yarn at a time. So that is from 2 to 5 on Saturday. And then on Sunday morning, I will be teaching tips and tricks for working with variegated yarn. I love this class. And in person, it is a combination of lecture and swatching. So I spend essentially the first half of the class talking about variegated yarn and teaching you how to look at variegated yarn and evaluate variegated yarn and what to look for in variegated yarn that informs you on what projects it's going to work in. And then we talk about different types of projects and different types of fabrics and how they interact with variegated yarn to help you set up again for success. And so we talk and have all this fun about learning about variegated yarn, and then we do some swatching of specific knitting techniques and stitches that work well with variegated yarn. And so it's a hands-on part of the lecture that happens in the first half of the class. So if you have a lot of hand-dyed variegated yarn that has seduced you into it living on your shelf, this is a great class to help you make it shine as best as it can in your projects. So that one is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Sunday morning, and then I fly out. So, and let me just mention real quick, other classes that are being taught on these days are knit a square, knit a bunny or a cat, ribbing, beginning knitting, top-down socks, machine knitting, 10-stitch scarf, swish check scarf, special reversible stitches, mock cable scarf, inserting a zipper into a knitted item. That one's interesting. Scrap busting, beginner intarsia, knitting and fixing mistakes in lace. If there's a lace fixing mistake in lace fixing class, that sounds awesome. Kind of wish I could take it. I've taken one, but I can always learn more from a different instructor, but I'm teaching a class during that time. Knit one below. That could be fun. Design a pattern, short rows, something called the Bergdorf cowl. You'll have to click on that to find out what it is. And then Sunday morning, Latvian braid and 2-color brioche. So there are other classes, not just mine, but I would love to have y'all in some of my classes at this event. Again, the event is called the Knit In 2022. It is in Greenville, South Carolina. The registration is open right now. So you need to, if you want to do this, you need to register. And it said you have to make your hotel reservations prior to December 29th of this year. So I'm trying to see if there's any other pertinent information. So there's, it just looks, I can't wait. It's been a long time since I've attended one of these events. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also excited about it. So it says classes, prizes, knitting friends, both old and new, gifts, dinner, games, show and share, unlimited knitting inspiration, vendors, amazing auction prizes, and knitting. Lots of knitting. Make plans today to be a part of the South Carolina Knitting Guild's annual Knit In weekend at the Hilton, Greenville, South Carolina. And this is kind of cool because Greenville, South Carolina, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, I actually went to school, I went to college at Clemson, South Carolina. I am a Clemson graduate, which is just like an hour south of Greenville, South Carolina. So it's going to be really interesting to go back to Greenville. It is a beautiful, beautiful city. I actually even spent, so Furman University is in Greenville, South Carolina. And between my junior and senior year of high school, I attended the Governor's School for the Arts at the Furman University. So I was in Greenville for, 6-8 weeks during the summer. I went to high school in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So I have a long history with South Carolina, and I'm excited and honored and flattered and flabbergasted that I was invited to be their guest instructor at this event. And I know many of y'all have mentioned that you would love to take one of my classes in person, and this is an opportunity if you're sort of on this side, you know, on the eastern coast-ish kind of area, or in the south. This might be an event for you to consider, because I know I'd love to see some of y'all. So that is what we have for you regarding classes. I have the 2 virtual classes, the blocking class in December and the cast on bind off class in January, and then this super fun event at the beginning of February. I don't know, I haven't traveled in a long time, but it's going to be exciting. So if you have any questions, if I missed anything, make sure you check in the description notes below for all the links. I might even try to put some of them in a pinned comment at the top, just in case you have problems finding the description notes. Or if you have any questions, just put it in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up if you're excited about classes with me. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.